All right, I'm going to test my sound real quick. I think there's lots of you popping in here. So I wanted to go ahead, if somebody would not mind in the chat box, and Indigo has just popped on, the lovely assistant. If somebody could chime in, if they can hear my voice, that would be fabulous. And we will get started here in not 11 minutes. That's totally wrong. Indigo says you can hear me. Yay, Jen. Hello, Jen. We're going to get started in 6 minutes. The clock is lying to you. And also, I never hit it at the right time. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get started chatting. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to get going and bring you some of this content. Tiffany and Christy, Jessica, Marina, Leah, Jen, hi, Rose, hi, Veronica. Well, Rose can't hear me. I was about to say, if we do run into any tech issues, the best thing that you can do is to reload this screen and you're going to be in good shape. That tends to happen every now and then just because it's a lot of bandwidth, especially if you've got some other tabs open, which I know I do that too, like have other things. So there you have it. Hello, Patty. I saw Charles or Charlie is in here, repping the mid. I also wanted to say Indigo was so kind to drop in that workbook. If you haven't grabbed the workbook yet and filled out page 3, you've got a couple of minutes to go ahead and do that. Hello, Alyssa and Lindsay. Hi, Sarah. I'm excited too. And Lindsay, listen, I have had my name spelled every kind of way under the sun, so that is quite all right. Hello, Tara. So yeah, you may want to go ahead and fill out workbook page 3. I am a big note taker, and so that is in place for you if you would like to take some notes along the way. I'm going to be bringing you some actionable steps. I will talk about it later, but I'm also a little bit of the type that I don't like to put my time into something if I'm not going to have a to-do after it. I don't consider it worth my while. So my goal here was to bring you some things that you can actually take action on today. And I'm excited about that. Lindsay, of course, I love saying y'all's name. Hey, Cynthia, Jenny K, a quilt designer. That is a very cool job, and a teacher from Denver. Also, Jenny K, the Today Show reported that today Boulder is the happiest city in the U.S. So congrats to your state. Leah is here. We've got about 1 minute. Ignore the clock if you're hopping in here. That's my fault. One of these webinars, I'm going to hit that clock on time, and I'm going to be on the money with it. But until that day, we will always be about 5 minutes off, apparently. Well, I'm so excited. I've worked for weeks and weeks on this, so I can't wait to go ahead and dig in. And a few of you are hopping on. Melissa, yeah, let's see. Who else was in the challenge? Melissa was in the challenge. We did a Write Your Site challenge this past week, and so that was fun and big. It ended up being about 1,900 of you that chimed in. I'm going to tell you, I know that has gone away, and there might be a few people on here that wanted to get in on that challenge and missed it, but I'm going to I've got a gift for you to still be able to get to it and enjoy it. At the end of this, I'm going to tell you about. Lindsay was there. Rose was there. Jen, awesome. Hi, Katie. You're a travel writer. We should talk. I feel like that's one of my past lives as a journalist. And that is a fantastic, fantastic job. Good morning, Muriel from Vancouver. Oh, love it. There's a lot of wedding photographers in my tribe, so I'm excited that you're here. Sarah and Aaron, if anybody, for those of you who popped on and didn't hear me say it the first time, if you run into some tech issues along the way, just hit refresh or reload the page or close out any tabs you have that have a lot of bandwidth to them. Sometimes we wind up in some sticky situations there. So according to my clock, it is 12 o'clock noon on the nose. And so I think it is time to get going. Are you ready? We are going to talk about how to hone your voice and write words that separate you from the pack. And I'm not into the salesy thing, and I'm not into the sappy thing, so we're going to veer away from that. And I'm so excited to go ahead and dig into this content with y'all. So I'm guessing that this may not be your first webinar ever. If that is you, welcome. If you've not done the webinar thing before, but this will be pretty easy. It's just going to be a 1-hour workshop where we're going to dive in. And the first thing that I want to say is that if you feel like you can't get the words and the ideas that are floating around in your brain out onto paper or onto the computer screen, or that you have never thought to prioritize it before, like copywriting, you're not even really sure what that is, you are not alone. And it is certainly not your fault. And I just want to say too, I want to free you up, because I feel like sometimes people get insecure about their intellect and our writing ability, or they feel like some high school class they just didn't do well on and it's coming back to haunt them. I just want to free you of that. It is not your fault. It is not a knock against your skills. And I am totally convinced that you can be a great copywriter for your business, even if you didn't love English. Okay. Can I get an amen? So when it comes to marketing, this is another thing I need to amen on, y'all. There is a lot of conflicting information out there, right? I mean, sometimes we hear to post a certain time on Instagram, and then other times we hear, don't do that. And then sometimes we're supposed to have the blog as our homepage, and sometimes we're not. And there's just all of these mixed messages out there when it comes to marketing in 2017, especially for creative small businesses. And I don't know about you, but for me, analysis paralysis is completely a real thing. And if I hear too much, then I kind of get frozen. I don't know what to do, right? So let's talk about some lies that we believe as creatives and entrepreneurs. If you follow me around the internet, or you're on my dog ear, my weekly newsletter, you know that I'm a really big fan of like taking something that's kind of believed to be true in our industry or in our market, and I want to like flip it on its head. That's the journalist, the feisty person in me. And so that's what we're going to go ahead and kick off and do right now. So if this is anybody here, I just want to hear you in the chat box. Clearly, y'all have located the chat box, but maybe this is you. Every time you write something and you go back and read it, it is horrible. Some of you had a little bit extra time when you signed up for this webinar to sign up or to let me know a few of the things that you struggled with. Somebody made me laugh so hard. She said, when I go back and read it, it sucks. And she included like 10 U's. I totally get that. Lori, Kelly, Leah, yes. Or it sounds too salesy or pitchy when you write it. So I just wanted to let you know you're in the right place if that is you today. Now, maybe this is you. Maybe you figure that you can't say the right catchy things so people engage or buy from you. A tagline would be your worst nightmare to write. And everything you put out there sounds cliche, quippy, cheesy. That's something that you're not so into doing, right? Jenny says that she sounds too pitchy. Lindsay says that this is you. Well, it's easier than you think, okay? You've got to trust me on that, and we're going to get into that for sure today. Now, here's the last lie I wanted to bring up. Oh, what about that brain freeze? I call it the great white blank page. You start looking at the page and you totally freeze on what to write. You have no idea how to get started or where, it's just that if you get started, you might do okay, but you don't know how. And I will say too, if you're a writer and feel like this, I would just need to give you some special affirmation, because I feel like sometimes people that may have studied writing in college or just always enjoyed it, and then when they go to write for their own business, they freeze up. You really start to have that imposter syndrome kick in, because you're like, I should know how to do this. Why me of all people? So maybe you don't even like writing or punctuation or writing at all. And I just want to let you know that you are welcome here today. And I get it. Like I said, you've told me these things. I enjoy so much reading your responses that you gave for those of you who had an extra moment and were able to drop me some lines about what you struggled with. And I just want to let you know today's content is genuinely specifically crafted to answer those questions. I went through all of them. There were like 388, and I've been looking at them, and I've structured this around those. So let's take it back a little bit. Where do those lies come from? Well, I mean, anybody, does anybody feel like it's a little bit of a saturated market? And that may be what kind of grates and twists the knife a little bit for us to feel insecure and have these fears come up. Well, you're onto something. It is getting to be a saturated market. Forbes, this article is in 2014 and noted that about 34% of the American workforce is moving into being freelancers and working for themselves. Forbes actually cites that at 35% now, but that number, they all agree, is expected to balloon to 50% by 2020. That is nuts. I don't know about you, but I'm completely amazed by that. Okay, so yeah, maybe we're a little saturated. Maybe that's where some of these are coming from. Now, maybe those come from the fact that you're more comfortable with visuals. I feel like, especially in the creative entrepreneurial subset that I serve, there's a lot of us who are so comfortable with videography, photography, art, craft. We love visuals, and that's something that we hold so dear, and it means so much to us. So when we shift and we start trying to market things with writing and words, we freeze up a little bit because we're not as good at getting emotions across there. So if that is you too, I want to say that you're onto something there, and that is science. If you've ever thought that you're better at communicating with visuals, it's usually because 90% of the information that's sent to our brains is processed visually. 90%. Some studies even say up to 93%. So that is absolutely amazing to me. So the difference is, in marketing, it's those images alone don't close the sale, right? We need some support there to actually get someone across the finish line when it comes to making a sale. So we've really got to dig into that little sliver and making those words readable, successful, and clear. And that is what I'm here to teach you today. So what does that mean for us? So as neuroscience continues to prove that we purchase with our emotional cortex first, and we back it up with the rational part of our brain, we need to be able to address those points with our words. There's things like credibility and authority, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, that also proves that we don't have a lot of space, right? You've just got that tiny little sliver that's not communicated through visuals. And so that's your chance, right? So you want to make it count. You want to be clear, and you want to be super concise there. And like I was saying, there's some things that don't quite get across when it comes to images. This photo right here is actually what I'm looking at right next to me right now, down to the phone that is there in the planner. Is a little messier than it is in that picture when it was new. But you can't tell from that picture everything that I could try to communicate, to tell you things about my credibility, authority, and expertise. I need some other things to hop in there, and those would be words, right? So you see, I genuinely believe that everybody here today in this workshop is specifically gifted, equipped, and your feet are readied with a message and a talent that's got to get out in this world. And it's got to get into the hands of the people that really need it. And I don't know about you, but just to be real honest for a minute, with the way things are in the world, it has been hard, right? As an artist, as a creator, as a maker, sometimes we have these moments where we sit and we think and we feel like I'm not a biochemist. I'm not, my husband, he works for Delta Airlines, and he literally, his job is life or death. If he messes up as a flight ops guy, that could really be bad. And it's just not the same for me and what I do. But this quote has given me such encouragement lately. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people that have come alive. And I just want you to know that that is what I hope that for you. And I believe that you should make an impact with what you want to do creatively. And I believe in getting paid for what you do. And I believe in being appropriately compensated. And that's what I want to talk to you more about today. So I was the girl in class that always wanted to know, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to study? And I also tend to be the type that wants to be able to walk away from a webinar or a workshop and have steps to put into place. I think one of my pet peeves is hopping on one of these and not having anything to put into play. So my goal for today's talk is to help two kinds of people. For those of you who are beginners and maybe you haven't quite gone full time or you've started making some money with what you do and you know who you are going to serve and you know what you're going to serve them with, I want to give you the ground up. I want to give you a shortcut to standing out in the right market right as you get started, okay? Now, but for those of you who are a little bit more experienced, man, I know that hustle and the hurriedness of it all is real. And so I want to give you some tools today that are going to help you escape some of that marketing hustle. So today we're going to tackle these three things and so much more. And so to kick this off, I want to just go ahead and lay the land that the only way to make sure your marketing is clear, persuasive, and attention-getting is through something called copywriting. Now, what is copywriting? What does she really mean? So copywriting, these are the words that come alongside, juxtaposed with your messaging, with your imagery, and they saddle up with them and they help get the message across. So these are the art and the science and marketing words that elicit action. We're actually trying to coach conversion. There's lots of different kinds of writing, fiction, poetry, prose, screenwriting, all the writings, right? Well, here I'm specifically talking about words used in marketing that make someone buy. So for my designers and my brand people on the call today, these would be anything that replaces lorem ipsum. So that is what I mean there. Now, I want to also show you a little bit of my aha moment in just about 3 minutes, if you'll let me do that. I want to tell you the why behind why it's really important that I teach you these strategies. So this is really and truly last year when I first started my business and went on my own. And what I want to talk to you about is that little spot right there, that revenue jump. Because what happened there was a flip switched, and started out in debt. I had gone on a creative conference before I even quit my corporate job, and I was just dreaming about doing this. And so we put that on the credit card knowing that the calligraphy orders were coming in, and then jumped up. But then from April to June, it tripled. And that is what I want to talk to you about. What made that shift happen? So who am I? Hello, my name is Ashlyn, this girl talking to you today in our workshop, and I am a calligrapher and a copywriter, and my business is called Ashlyn Writes. And what happened was I did calligraphy, and I noticed there was a gap in the market with creatives not quite knowing how to use words to sell, and I said, I can help with that. So that's the short version, but I want to back up just a little bit and tell you where all that came from. So I graduated with a degree in journalism and mass communication and went straight to work in the public relations industry. It was my dream job. And these are some shots from agency life. That is not my engagement ring. That would be fabulous, but that is not. That's from the Tiffany & Company's flagship salon in New York, where we hosted a Delta Sky Miles Medallion member event, hosting Jack Johnson at an event, meeting the Rockettes, just all the things. And I thought that it was so glamorous. And so this is pretty much what I thought I did. This is the life I thought that I had. But just to be frank with you, this is exactly what my life was more like. Y'all, I am a high-strung perfectionist, and you put somebody like this in the media and marketing world of corporate marketing, man, it's a little bit sticky. Not to mention, throughout this time, I'm using nights and weekends to run my calligraphy side hustle. So it was pretty busy, and I know that some of y'all can relate to that. So here's what happened. This day is when my husband proposed, and fun fact, made that very same face last Thursday night when Trisha Yearwood came out on stage. So apparently that's my go-to move for when things shock me. But the minute that he proposed was the minute that things started to tumble a little bit out of hand. You see, all of this perfectionism, generalized anxiety that I had kind of dealt with for a long time, and just little bouts of depression, nothing big, right? Well, those ballooned during this really stressful time. And before I knew it, I had developed a full-on eating disorder, and it got worse and worse. And I didn't even see it coming. And that is just no good when you're a publicist for a celebrity chef. I always hesitate to show this picture, but this is from our wedding day itself. And I think this is why I have such a heart for heirloom quality wedding products, because like photos and stationery, because I look back on this day and I don't remember all of it because I was so sick. And it was right after this that my mother-in-law came to me and she said, Ashlyn, what is more important to you, your relationship with your job or your relationship with my son? And I couldn't give her the answer that she wanted to hear. I was that obsessed with work, that obsessed with marketing and my glamorous job, and that out of touch and that sick. So I realized that something had to change, or work was going to need to slow down, because my new marriage was absolutely crumbling. So during this time when I was in partial hospitalization, it spurred some conversations during my quiet times and with my husband. And I looked at Wes one day and I said, Wes, what's it going to take for a girl like me who loves work? I believe we are made to work, and it is a good thing when used properly. But what's it going to look for somebody to like me to learn how to do that from a place of deep rest instead of hustle? Hustle's my go-to. I've got no problem with it, but I can't. It's like the other part of it is really hard to learn for me. So these seeds were planted, and before I knew it, February of 2016, like I showed you on that slide, that is when I left a lot sooner than I thought and moved into this office. Didn't look like that at first, let me tell you. Now, when I first started my business, I wanted to do all the things. I obviously was a calligrapher and a writer, and so I wanted to do calligraphy for everything. I wanted to calligraph baby shower invitations, wedding invitations, wedding shower invitations, birthday parties, everything, right? And then on the other side, I wanted to do all the writings. I still wanted to do editorial writing, content marketing writing, social media writing, pitches, and do PR for people. Literally wanted to do everything. But little by little, I started to learn that there was a sweet spot and a magic that happened when I said no to things and when I niched down a little bit. And it worked. This is what is to blame for that switch up in my business that made my revenue increase. What happened was I started saying no to a lot of the things that looked attractive and started zeroing in my message and my branding and my marketing to hit one central audience and market. And you know what that audience is now, because you're a part of that group that I'm trying to attract. I don't do all the other things that I used to do now. And that is why, to take you back to this, what made that happen and what's made it grow to be a multiple six-figure business now. And I'm so honored and excited to get to work with people that I completely used to fangirl over and not even be able to talk to when I first met them. And I now count them as sweet friends. And I've also been blessed to get to be featured in a lot of places that I've looked up to for a really, really long time. I'm telling you this because messaging can help your business grow if you do it in the right way. But that aside, the goal of marketing is not to win the popularity award, right? Nope, no, thank you. It's not to have, I think we all know at this point, your social media following is not, that is a vanity number. That is not a direct representation of what is sitting in your bank account or your happiness or anything like that. And so the goal of marketing is then what? It's to sell products. It's to get paid for what we love to do so we can go and live the life that we want to live. Now, most of you here probably are like, great, well, I don't want to be a calligrapher or a copywriter, but copywriting still does apply to what you do. And the thing that I want you to zero in on right here with me is that visual marketing and logos alone don't push someone over that line to book you, to work with you and to pay you. Writing words that sell in your business is what's going to allow you to leverage persuasion. Is just because something's beautiful, like we just said, that Instagram feed, a $5,000 gorgeous custom website, which there's a time and a place for, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's persuading someone to book you, right? So to take it back to my business, that monogram logo that was from my wedding. I just wanted to reuse it because I designed it and done all the paper, and I, starting out, didn't have a lot of money to put into my business. And so I knew that I was going to reuse that. And what I'm trying to tell you with that, and and the rights from Ashlyn Writes was literally because I needed a W word. So sometimes it's that solid basic website written without a ton of fluff that can do the best job selling. I'm not, I know there's a lot of graphic designers and website website designers that are listening today, and that is so important. And I am not saying that this is more important. I'm saying when it comes to selling and making money, you need your words. So to get those massive results, the secret is copywriting, and that's what I want to teach you today. So first, I want to introduce you to my friend and student, Kat Schmoyer. Tell me in the chat box, some of you may know her. Kat is the brainchild behind Creative at Heart conferences, as well as Dear Sweetheart events. And Kat first came to me when she was working through remessaging for Creative at Heart, because what happened was when Kat first created Creative at Heart, say that 5 times fast, when she first made that, it was new in the market. There was not a whole lot of people doing conferences for creative entrepreneurs. And so Kat started it. Now, by the time she was getting into about her 7th round, it was getting to be a saturated market. So Kat came to me and we worked together on her website copy for the sales page, and she sold out all 75 seats in just 12 hours. But that she also generated more than $105,000 in sales for her conference. I was so excited for her and so proud of her, and I loved getting to go this year. Daniela says she was there. I was there too. Oh, we met. Yay. I was going to say I met a lot of people. I'm so glad you're here, Daniela. I wanted you to meet my other friend, Katie. Now, Katie was going through a rebrand. I'm sure there's somebody here that's gone through a rebrand, right? So basically, she was moving from her name to being a little bit more professional, and she felt like she couldn't genuinely connect with her audience. When we worked together and we worked through her messaging and her copy, Katie booked out for 6 months. Not just that, but she grew her team by 7 associate designers, and she also grew her email list by 600 people. Isn't that awesome? And then lastly, I wanted to tell you about my friend Carrie. And Carrie, every time I look at this, her eyes just pop. I know she's a makeup artist and she knows some sweet tricks, but her eyes look pretty good there. Carrie, I want to read you what she said. She said, I tried to soak up as much free content from Ashlyn as I possibly could for about a year, but it still wasn't helping me deliver my overall message. I know I've done that before, all the freebies, right? In a nutshell, Ashlyn's helped me become more me, but in a professional, command respect as a businesswoman kind of way. Going through her exercises, I was shocked that she was actually able to help me find my voice in the right manner. I've seen more engagement with my newsletter and social media posts since implementing my new skills, and I now convert 60 to 70% of all of my inquiries now. So I tell you this because I want you to imagine the feeling. What if your face in 1 year is able to be up here? And if you're able to stand out in a sea of messages like these ladies, get consistent in your copy, in your brand voice, in your marketing materials, and your distinct branding that pulls you apart, separates you from the pack, and enables you to then get more clients and customers so you can get paid for what you love to do. You would have messaging that generates revenue for you at all hours of the day because it lives on your website, in your product descriptions, even in your Instagram captions. So even while you're sleeping, it's doing the heavy lifting and the leverage for you. It's a pretty amazing experience. Okay, but where do we start, right? So let's go back to those 3 lies that I told you about at the beginning, and I want to counter those with some secrets. So those of you that had that workbook, now's where you're going to want to pull it out, and we're going to go ahead and dive in and dig into these 3 secrets to honing your voice and writing words that separate you from the pack. So let's kick it off with number 1. We're first going to talk about how to actually find your voice, and I'm going to tell you a little secret here along the way. But first, let's come back to zero, back to square one. Your message is the what you're trying to communicate, and it's your tone of voice that is the how you communicate it, okay? So at the beginning of our workshop and our time together, I gave you a few definitions of what copywriting is, but this is another way that you can look at it. You can look at it as the what and the how, both the message and the tone of voice. Now, one tone of voice that many of us are familiar with, if you follow her, is this lovely lady. This is my sweet, she's become a friend. She started out as like they're like client friend, and then they move into like real friend. That was Jenna. And she's just so dear to me. And this is the best way that I can explain voice is when I first started working for Jenna and writing her email sequences for different courses that she was churning out. I said, Jenna, I need is there any kind of messaging document that you have on hand in your business that can help me get a quick sense? Like, I read your blogs, I read your Instagrams, but do you have anything that really zeroes me in? And she said, I have this thing. I said, whatever it is, hand it over. She said, well, this is my Jenna-isms document. And you see, Jenna had just brought on Sweet Caitlin, who works as her virtual assistant, onto her team to help answer emails because she gets hundreds of emails a day, and she needed some support with that. But she didn't want to lose the tone and the meaning of her brand that she'd worked so hard to build. So Caitlin and I were both able to use this and sound like Jenna in her words because her voice was so pinpointed. So let me ask you this. What does your brand voice sound like? Are you going for something that is fun and playful? Or maybe your brand tone is more energetic and you show that with some power-packed, short action words like fragments and bullets. I think Nike, they're a great example of this in their copy. Even the tagline, just do it. It's short and punchy and athletic. Maybe your tone is more elegant, so you use lengthier, flowing sentences and adjectives. Or maybe your brand is more innovative and modern, and you want your copy to even be minimalistic and succinct and conversational because you really want to let those customer testimonials shine and do the work for you. So that all sounds good, but like, how do I actually get started? So I have 3 ways that you can get started now learning to find your voice. The first thing that I want you to do is start avoiding jargon and overly technical language. Think about it with Apple. They're a great example of this. You don't care that Apple is selling you a product with a 13.3 LED backlit display with IPS technology. You don't care about all that, right? It's jargon. You care that it is thinner, lighter, and more powerful than ever, right? That's such a better way to describe it. I also saw this with, just to bring it back to maybe your industry, a client that we were working with one-on-one was talking about the 8% vendor markup fee in the inquiry email to her clients. That's a great example of jargon. In that first inquiry, the client doesn't quite need that yet. She's still working through. We'll get there. We're not going to hide any of this, but we're just not going to bring it right out of the gate when it comes to getting someone used to your voice and your brand. Now, another idea to get you started is to describe your brand voice and tone as a person. I like to tell my students, don't have afraid to have fun with some tone development exercises, right? It can help to compare your brand to different celebrities or songs or other companies, movies, cities, and just to get a feel of whatever tone it is that's appropriate for your business. Maybe your brand is like the Reese Witherspoon of wedding stationery, right? Or it sounds like an easygoing coffee shop in Seattle that's moody and playing a great singer-songwriter set list. Or maybe it feels like that night that you had walking along the Sand River hand in hand with your husband, and you'll always remember like the way the air smelled that night. And that is what you want your brand and your voice to feel and sound like. So those are some ideas. And the last idea that I have for you is to filter through your inbox. I want you to go back and find about 3-ish clients or customers that you really enjoyed emailing back and forth with because you actually liked them as a person. And I want you to look at the voice words that you chose there. And I tell you to do this instead of looking at, how you text back and forth with your best friend, because you're likely, I'm going to guess, you had an air of professionalism when you were communicating with them, but you were also yourself. You were loose, you were more relaxed, and you sounded like yourself at the same time as being professional. I want to tell you another story of a student I had that did this. This is Laura behind the brand Paper and Honey, which is a fantastic stationery company. And Laura started working with me because she was updating her website and she knew she needed better copy. Her business had changed a lot since it first started, and she said that it felt like it was all band-aided together across all over the board. So Laura worked really, really hard at finding her voice. She did that email exercise and she totally nailed it. I want you to look now, and bonus points if you go to her website sometime because it is so funny. Her personality completely shines. She's very witty and has a nerd humor vibe that she puts off. Like she'll talk about Harry Potter all the time. It's just so funny. I need to slow down my fast talking Southern accent so you can read that last part. I thought that was just so cute. But this speaks perfectly about Laura, but also to her client. So what I want to encourage you to do after this workshop today is to create a brand voice guide like that one I showed you earlier. Think today about what shapes how you sound and you talk and what words represent and bring your story to life. I think it is paperandhoney.com, Purdy. That's a good question. I think it's paperandhoney.com. Now you're thinking, how do I get those words though, Ashlyn? So what I want to tell you, if you feel a little unorganized and you feel like you could maybe find them, but then where do you put them? You could put them in something like this. This may be one reason, I'll just say too, that takes you a long time to write copies because you can't you don't have something to pull from that's already there and ready for you to pull from. So I would tell you to house words like this in some kind of document. We create brand mood boards all the time, right? For our hex codes and for our images that we want our brand to look like. But sometimes we don't do that for our words, but maybe you should start. Maybe that's something that you could try. And I would tell you that some sort of a digital file like Evernote or Google Docs would be a great place for you to start. I'm also going to say that if you're the type that thinks that you use way too many buzzwords, then this is for you. There is no better elixir to get you out of using words. Maybe it's swoon. You think if I type the word swoon when I'm describing my brides one more time, I'm going to bang my head on my desk. This can get you out of that because you can go back and look at this and come up with some other words. Now, you may be thinking right now that your industry is just too crowded and saturated and that no matter what you do, you always sound like everybody else. I totally get that. So here's a way that you can look at your industry and your competition and ethically tap into finding your own voice. The first thing that I want you to do is actually conduct an audit. I want you to pick, I'll see if I can talk a little slower. I get real excited because I know some people want to take notes on this part. So I want you to pick somebody that's at the very top of your industry, like the creme de la creme of your industry. I want you to pick somebody that's a little bit below that, just a little more normal. And then I want you to go down and pick somebody that you actually compete with for business. Now, when I say competition, I'm not meaning like Mean Girls competition. I just mean like who are the people that you would compete with for business in the market and on the landscape? I want you to tell me what you like about what they're doing when you read their website and you read their captions. Like what kind of things make you feel good that they're talking about? What do you like that they're writing about? And then I want you to tell me what you don't really like so much. Just make a few notes there, some things that you think maybe you could do better or some messages that are missing. And then I want you to look at those side by side and identify where your story comes into play. What can you add to this conversation that's not being said? What's something that's on your heart that's not quite getting out in these messages that you're looking at? And that is something that my students know, and those of you who took the challenge, that's your onlyness factor. What is this thing that you do differently than anybody else? And can you tell me that? So the last step of this puzzle is to weave that into your message and into your marketing. So like I've told you, I love the action steps. So to boil all that down, from secret number one, if you remember nothing else, I want you to start putting your voice on paper. And I want you to peek at the gaps that you can fill in the market and go there. So I know that you also want to write customer-centric copy, right? I read this a lot in that survey. A lot of you want to interest your followers and you want to create conversions. And if you've ever felt frustrated or invisible when you put words out there and no one reacts, it's so irritating. You're the type that you really want to connect with those potential customers and you want to turn your admirers into paying participants. But how do you get there, right? Well, here is a copywriter quote for you to think about for a minute. And I know that this may come across as a little harsh, but it's true when you sit down and think about it. When it comes to purchasing and buying and sales, people don't care about you as much as they care about themselves. It's just the honest truth. You walk into Target, you don't really care about Target's bottom line quite as much as you care about getting the gold items on the threshold shelf that you can use in a flat lay, right? Like you're looking out for number one. You came there, you need to get what you came there for. We're also all, in essence, selling the very same thing. Everybody is selling people a better version of themselves. I have an example of this. I recently switched to my game from using products that have maybe a few more chemicals in them to things that are a little bit safer. An example of that was toothpaste. So I knew I wanted to switch from whatever crust I was using to something that was more natural, and I found Tom's, and so I started buying that, and I've pretty much made the switch now. Now, when I was making that switch, pretty much at least for me, was going to be buying a better version of myself, right? A healthier, safer version of myself. So this is really true no matter what the purchasing, whatever the market is. So how do we get started figuring out those things? This is a great way to convey the value of what you offer without losing sincerity. And it's surveying, okay? This is how you land on those succinct sentences that really grab the reader and speak straight to them. So how do we start surveying and listening to what it is that people want us to say? The first thing that you can do actually is to go get on Amazon, which we all love our Prime accounts, right? Go get on Amazon and look up a book or a product that relates to what you do. Then go down and read the results and the reviews and see what people said was great, what was really helpful, and what was missing, what they needed a little more support on. Maybe you plan weddings and you're going to look up a wedding planning book and then go see what did people say that they needed to know, or they needed to, what are the biggest hangups for them as people planning their weddings. And so that can be a really great place to start and get the lay of the land. Another way is to look into some Facebook groups. As business owners, so many of us are in like all the Facebook groups, right? But I want you to start joining just a few where your target hangs out. So this, you may be a fly on the wall and you never really post, you're never an active member in it, but you just watch and you listen and you see what they need and what their pain points are and what they feel and how they're trying to solve the problems. And you just listen and you watch and you take those snippets as pieces that you could weave into your messaging. Now, the last thing you can do, I know, right? Just ask them. You could just ask them. I realize that can be a little bit scary to point blank ask people what they need and what maybe you could help them with, but I think it's really valuable, and I want to tell you why. So this is one of our sweet brides, Lauren, and she's an example of I would say sometimes you could like bottle up the kind of bride that we work with. She is usually from the deep south, the southeastern United States. She heirlooms matter, etiquette matters. They want the copper plate Spencerian hand that I have. I'm not really good at modern calligraphy, and I'm okay with that. I stick with the more classical, traditional flair. So she's a great example of a bride. But the thing is, when I first switched and made that jump from corporate to full-time and started doing my calligraphy business, I realized I really had to make this work, right? So I needed to give people what they wanted. So I started asking a few of my brides what their hangups were when they were trying to plan their wedding stationery suite and their wedding in general. And you know what a lot of them said when it came to their paper, at least for my market, my brides, they were very concerned about the etiquette of it all, which I thought that was interesting. I think I thought that it would be other things that were more important to them with their paper, like having it stand out, blah, 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 blah. But no, they wanted to do things right. They wanted to honor their guests. They wanted to make their grandparents proud. And they definitely wanted something that they could put in a silver frame that would last forever and never go out of style. They wanted to get things very, very appropriately perfect, right? So what if you may be thinking right now, what if I have more than one thing I offer or product to or kind of person that I need to survey? And you're a little overwhelmed. You like this idea, but you're starting to think, okay, I could go in a lot of directions with this. So I want to talk to you about what to do there. What I would tell you is that when you're writing about people's problems, you're not going to give them that pink permission slip to ignore and to quit paying attention to what you're saying. So it's worth the work and the legwork because you can get people to pay attention longer. Now, the next thing, here's more of an actionable step. I want you to consider breaking up your services and your offers on different pages because you're going to have different problems that you're going to position yourself to solve. So the person that's purchasing from you at a $50 price point is a very different person than the one who's buying a $3,000, $5,000, whatever dollar package, right? Because to have that successful blockbuster marketing, you really need to focus on just one reader at a time. And that is something that copywriters call the rule of one. Everything you write in your business needs to just focus on one reader and one idea and one offer. And I know that seems very niche, but I promise you that is what drives conversion. So your assignment today is to go through your copy and see where you can implement that rule of one. See where you can listen to people and what they want and then weave in those same words into your copy and talk to a specific person. Now, I realize too that this step is a little bit time intensive or could be, but I want to tell you nothing in business is overnight. Some of you are probably nodding your heads. You're like, I know, I've been doing this forever, Ashlyn. It was that movie about the founder. That's what it is. The guy that founded McDonald's has a quote where he said, people were saying McDonald's is an overnight success. And he said, yeah, it's an overnight success, but that sure was a 30-year long sleep. And I love that because I think that's so true. The shortcut to business is that you've got to play the long game. If you really want to build a business that lasts for a while, you're going to have to make some moves that other people aren't necessarily spending the time on. And that's how you stay relevant longer. You play that long game. So I want to hear from you in the chat box, which y'all have been using, and I love reading that. I want you to tell me yes or no, is what you're doing as a business, is it what you're focusing on as a business, or is it just a hobby? And if you are here as a hobbyist, I love that. And I believe in art for art's sake, and I think it is a really good thing. But I want to hear why you're in. And then I want to hear too, on a scale of 1 to 3, how committed are you to that long game? I do know there's some people on here who just want this as a little while. It's a little stint, but there's some people that want to get past that 5-year marker that they say that small businesses don't last past. That would be if you're a 3. So I want to hear 1 through 3 and why you're in. Oh, I love this. Rachel said, I want to make books till I'm 80. I love it. 3s, lots of 3s, lots of Ys. This is a super committed group. Danielle says she's focusing. Janelle, calligraphy was a hobby for me at first, and you can turn your hobby into a business. I have done it. Awesome. Kieran, Melissa, Kelly, thank y'all so much. That's super helpful. And I'm super fired up just from reading that. We are a committed bunch here. Now, let's go ahead and jump in to this last secret because I know you want to write a website and messaging that has that compact, intentional message, but it's the getting started. These are my girls and guys who look at that white blank page and completely freak out about knowing what to write. That's what has you completely miffed. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to be too wordy, but it seems like it's either that or the blank page. There's no middle ground. There's no in between. Well, I want to tell you a little secret. So has anybody been standing in the line at the grocery store and you look next to you at that line of magazines and you see some of those headlines and titles and you think, haven't we, am I having deja vu? Have we been here before? Haven't we done 5 ways to style your coffee table or 10 new recipes to do with turkey after Thanksgiving? Haven't we done these before? They seem a little formulaic. And what I want to tell you is there is a complete reason for that. That is there for a reason, and it's because of a little something I want to teach you about. So do you want to know how to be finished, 90% finished with your writing before you even get started? Okay, here's the secret. It's templates, formulas, and blueprints. A lot of people don't realize, but copywriters and writers use templates and formulas and blueprints like so many other industries do for what they do. I don't want you to write from scratch. I want you to start out ahead of the pack and have everything so you can organize your message for the most persuasive impact. Once you've got that message organized, then you can start working with other elements, the fun stuff, the story, your process, weaving in those photos and images that you love so much. And this is how you get your time back. This is how you stop spending so much time on marketing because you've got formulas and templates and blueprints that you fill in kind of paint by number style. So here are some things that formulas can help you write. A formula can help you with a headline for a website page, as some of you that were in the Write Your Site Challenge saw. A headline can also be a template for a blog post, which those are 2 different types of templates, just to be noted. Testimonials, who knew, right? But there's a formula for testimonials that you should be using with your clients. You can use them for bulleted lists, blocks of body copy, call to action, that button copy. There's formulas for that. There's formulas for just about everything. And then from there, it's just a matter of optimizing your copy by applying those persuasion principles and using some proven better copywriting practices. And you can also add in some fancy pants copywriting techniques like the ones that I teach my students. So basically, here what I want you to start doing is start out with the end in mind. Start ahead of the pack. Now, I'll also say that writing these formulas and filling them in works best when you've got all the ingredients gathered to start. So we talked about your voice, right? That's one ingredient that you need. And we talked about digging into those surveys and listening to your tribe and what they're saying. And that's another one of those ingredients. This is kind of like baking a cake. They turn out best when you've gotten everything from the grocery store and you didn't forget something. So those, and then the last one is the templates. And from there, writing is a whole lot easier. So this all sounds good. And yes, there's captions, Kelly, for Instagram posts. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, actually. Here's a formula that you can take and start using now. So problem, agitation, solution, PAS is the name of the formula. And this is a great way. I know that sometimes that services work with me page is like a sticky one. So start structuring your page like this. If you aren't quite sure how to kick off that page, start with the problem that you've listened, you've been in those Facebook groups, those Amazon reviews, you've heard a little bit about what the problem could be. You want to show them that you hear that, and then you want to agitate it. I say poke the bear, that's what I call it. Like poke the bear, twist the knife just a little bit, agitate it, and then you want to come in quickly before they spiral down in some depressive state with your solution. And that is you and what you do and how you can serve them and help them out with their problem. So PAS is like the little black dress of copywriting formulas. It's one that you can turn back to. It's very versatile. And I hope that you screenshot this or keep this in your back pocket and can use it out. So your action step here for secret number 3 is to put PAS to work. Put it to work for one thing in your business today, whether it is that inquiry sitting in your inbox that you're not quite sure how to answer, or the Instagram post that you need to write later today because you feel like you've got to post every day and you didn't know what to write. PAS is a great way that you can get that done. Now, I believe that these action steps that we have talked about today are things that you're completely capable and equipped to do in your own business. I totally believe that you don't have to be a marketer or a journalism major or a really good writer to step on the field of play and go ahead and get that clear messaging and story out in the world. It's time for you to dominate your industry and to build a foundation that's going to give you that rest over hustle. So it's your time. Y'all, you've shown up here for a reason, and I hope you've seen how copy can change the way you do your business. So what do you think? We have moved through me showing you how to hone your voice and separate yourself from the pack with copywriting, using words that speak really succinctly to your audience and marry that alongside your voice. Isn't that great? So you're starting to see it for yourself. And let me ask you a question. If you followed what I showed you in Secret 1 to get your voice on paper, and then you used survey skills to figure out how to say things that people actually want to hear, and then you used Secret 3's tip about templates when it comes to structuring your copy, do you think you could be more successful as a writer and a marketer? And more importantly to me, do you think you could simmer down that marketing overwhelm that follows us around as small business owners? Well, I know that you may be feeling a little bit like this right now, especially those of you who are in the challenge. You're like, yes, it was so fun, but at the same time, I'm a little overwhelmed right now. And I get it. I tried to cover a lot in those 5 days as well as this whole 1-hour workshop. But I've created a special package for those of you who are ready to move forward and put a system in place that helps you find more rest in your marketing. And remember, nothing that I have shared today is theory. I've used these strategies, sure, to write copy for my own business, but for dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs and for all my students. And then also they're based on things that I learned back in corporate marketing days. So these things work. And y'all, I am not a special snowflake. Neither are the clients that I used to be so intimidated and so afraid to talk to because I fangirled them. They're real people, and so am I. I just have a system. And if I can do this, then you can too. So, do you want to know how to hone a voice, clarify your message, and separate yourself on the scene so you can calm the marketing hustle? If so, I would love to invite you into Copywriting for Creatives. This is the 10-step system that I have to figuring out that message that stands out and then actually implementing it, getting it done so you can get more white space back and spend time on the things that you love to do in your business to escape that marketing hustle hamster wheel. So this is that A to Z method that I've used for those dozens of one-on-one private clients, and I want to be your accountability buddy so we can get this implemented in your own business. This is the entire brand messaging and website writing system that I have used, packaged up with a pretty internet bow. And I want to take you behind the scenes so you can see what is involved in all of them. But I want to let you know the good news is that you know a little bit about some of these because we've walked through them in today's training. So in week 1, I have an entire workshop that walks you through what exactly copywriting is. We're going to get real clear on that. And I'm going to tell you how to have a step-by-step blueprint to start writing your own. I also want to tell you about client voice hacking. It's my methodology because those ideal client avatar exercises didn't always work for me when it comes to sales, and I want to tell you about that. Now, next in week 2, we're going to go through excavating your brand. So we'll lift up that hood and see what's really there. And I'm also going to give you a complete training on selling with story. In week 3, we're going to go all through your brand messaging style guide. And I want to give you a really solid cheat sheet, that isms document that we talked about earlier, so you can always sound like yourself and be able to get who you are and what you do across to others. In week 4, we're going to equip you so you know how to say, what to say, and I'm going to tell you those persuasive techniques that really prime people to buy from you. In module 5, we'll get you through your homepage. I'm going to tell you the psychology behind it, but I'm also just going to hand over the blueprint template that we use so you can lay out your messaging. In module 6, we're going to talk long and hard about your about page because that is one of the most viewed pages on websites. Studies show about 52% of people click from your homepage to your about page. I'm going to take you also through my TMI guide because I know it's really hard to promote yourself, and I want to make sure that you're set and comfortable talking about yourself when it comes to selling your business. In module 7, we're going to talk about how to describe your brand, even one that may be upscale, in a way that doesn't sound too far out of reach with prospective clients or scare them away financially. Your art, your work, your service, it deserves a place in their budget, so we need to talk about how to communicate that value. Now, I know that you may want to speak to those potential clients, be yourself, and convert at the same time. So one great way you can do that is testimonials, and we're going to talk about how to get great testimonials. Then we're going to move on to the rest of your site. And then finally, we're going to get you edited, installed, and get everything in place so you can always land on that right tone without sounding too laid back or way too buttoned up and professional. Now, to help you stay on track, you're going to see this image pop up whenever there's a moment that you could go off on a tangent, spend a little too much time. We're entrepreneurs, so we're like moth to the flame when it comes to going down bunny trails. So I'm going to point that out, and I'm going to let you know to keep moving forward even when things get a little bit hairy. Now, when I got ready to open up doors for Copywriting for Creatives for the 3rd time, I got an email from a former student, and Torrance asked if I wanted to see her results. She just had a baby, and she said that she has redone her website, and she put the finishing touches on it. But more important to me is that Torrance is now landing podcast interviews because she's able to communicate her brand in a way that makes sense to people, that makes them want to share her story. Pretty impressive, right? Here's another one of my sweet students. This is Laura. And Laura said just after module 2, she was able to write blog posts a whole lot faster and load them into her new website. And now she's able to write to her ideal client and not at her. And that's changed everything. This is what I live for. And I've got story after story of creative entrepreneurs who went through this program and got similar results. So I know that you may be thinking, okay, but is it right for me? I don't have a gift box company like Torrance. I'm not a wedding photographer, but we have had so many different types of creative entrepreneurs go through this that it's usually a good fit if you consider yourself into one of these kind of categories. And if not, I'm going to tell you how to reach out to me and get in touch with me because I really want you to be able to capture the essence of your brand with that wow factor and engage with your potential client. So that is, in a nutshell, the basics of the program. But I know that sometimes one of the things I hear from you is that you put things off. It's super overwhelming. It's hard to just start. So that's why I've built in more than 25 templates, worksheets, and more. Because when I first got started, we needed some kind of document in place. So I'm handing over my Google Docs website copywriting template, the very one that we use with our one-on-one clients. And when you have this tool, you'll be able to write your homepage, your about page, services page, product descriptions, and more with a paint-by-numbers approach. Like I said, when I first started doing this, I didn't have that list of survey questions to ask my audience. So I made it, and that is inside too. I also didn't know how to conduct a survey, like I told you about, without being completely awkward. So I've created a whole workbook on how to do that, and that's inside the program as well. Now, I don't want you to recreate the wheel. So I've already got a whole shop full of templates, and I'm just going to give you a lifetime discount to the Ashlyn Wright shop with this package, if that's okay. It took me about 6 years doing my side hustle and working in corporate marketing gig to figure some of this out, but it's only going to take you one. So the value is getting pretty high, but I wanted to add in a few more things because I know that you want some accountability and some support, right? You're thinking, I could get in there, Ashlyn, but I don't finish courses. Well, when you invest, you're going to get access to 8 weeks of office hours with me. This is going to be our chance. I don't do one-on-one mentoring, but this is what I do. I hop in there every single week for 8 weeks, and you're going to be able to post your questions about the content and your business and what you're struggling with on a weekly prompt, and we'll answer them each week. So even if you're not able to hop in every single week, your question is going to get answered. Now, I am a huge online training program taker. I love them. I should probably add up how much I've spent over the years. But here's the thing. If they gathered, I will not let them gather digital dust. It pains me to no end if they just sit there and I don't take them. So to get through them, I always create some kind of map to get me through it. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and created that for you because I don't want you to waste your time making your own. I've created a 60-day and a 90-day roadmap so you can knock this program out before the end of the year. So we can walk into 2018 with a new positioning, new messaging, new website copy, and new ways to market your business because I know that is something that you don't want hanging over your head. Now, I will say some of you are like, can I just binge on it? Yes, you can. Go for it. But I found that it was a little more helpful if I created some way for those of you who want to just go at it. You're busy. You're in the middle of a busy season. This can be a way that you can get through that. Now, at this point, that's the basic framework. But after you learn all this, you're going to be ready to market your business. So I've included a few things that are going to help you from a social media and marketing standpoint. So when you invest during this special period, you're also going to get access to an SEO writing masterclass. I've invited my sweet friends, Davey and Krista. Some of you may know of them. They're SEO wizards, and they're going to come on and we're going to have a masterclass together where they teach us how to write words that rank and are relevant so we show up in things like Google. Also, when you invest during this special period, you're going to get access to the Content Marketing Fill-Up Formula mini course. So if you've ever wondered how to create that blog editorial calendar, or if you've ever wondered how to figure out what to blog out in the first place, I want to get you those questions answered too. Now, also, I know that you may be ready after all this to start pitching your business and land your business some of those interviews different places. So I'm bringing on my sweet friend, Lisa Kirk. She is a former editor at Southern Weddings Magazine and now has her own copywriting business where she does more editorial and pitch style writing. And we're going to work with Lisa and get to ask her some questions on how to get our pitches to show up for editors and inboxes. So that is the total value. But for the next 15 minutes, if you jump into Copywriting for Creatives, I'm going to give you a couple of more gifts and bonuses. The first thing is, if you've ever wondered what a sales funnel is, anybody, that can be like a sexy marketing word right now. It's not as scary as you may think, and I want to walk you through that. So I've created a mini marketing plan for you to use to plan your 2018 marketing, and also a sales funnel checklist. So you can figure out what a sales funnel is actually going to look like in your business when you don't want to do all of these crazy Facebook ad crazy things. You just want to have a basic funnel. Now, Christina Scalera is my go-to on this. So I brought her in and I recorded a jam session with her where I pick her brain on what sales funnels look like for service-based businesses. And that is included now. Now, also, those of you who are in the Write Your Site Challenge, it went a little viral. It went up to about 1,900 people in the challenge. That was far beyond my goal. And I know that content, we went through it really quickly. So if you hop in to Copywriting for Creatives in the next 15 minutes, you also get lifetime access to the whole Write Your Site Challenge. Now, that number at the bottom of the screen has gotten really high. And do not worry. I don't charge anywhere near that. Okay, but let me ask you something. If all Copywriting for Creatives did was help you figure out your voice in a way that silenced the noisy market that's swirling all around you, would that be worth it if it gave you a little more white space? If all it did was teach you how to listen to your market and survey so you had a never-ending supply of the perfect words to use no matter what you're trying to sell, even if you change businesses in a year, even if you pivot your products or your services, you always have this tool and know how to do, would that be worth it? And lastly, if all it did was give you formulas so you could leverage your words, put them in place really well, and then close down that silver screen Mac at night to go hang out with your family. If you're me, curl up with your husband and some wine and the pups on the couch, would that be worth it? So the way I look at it, I have two choices here. I could give this away for free or very, very cheap. And I have no problem. I do that a lot. I have a lot of free content on my website. I love giving things away. But here's the problem with that. I don't know about you, but I tend to take things a little bit more seriously if I invest in them. I gamify it a little bit. I'm hungry to get my investment back because I know that I want to see a ROI and a return on my time as well. And so I just show up for things that I pay for. So I decided to go with that second option, which obviously means an investment. But in exchange for that, me and my team as well, we can dedicate more time, energy, and resources to your success. So let me ask you, if you were able to have that honed, precise voice that's professional and authentic, that comes alongside your imagery with the right formulas to close the sale, what would that be worth to you? You could probably see now why my one-on-one clients pay upwards of $3,500 to work with me for a similar result. They don't see it as a cost, like I just talked to you about. They see it as a true investment. And you can see how it's worth about that. But you can get started today for one easy payment of $597. And if that is a little too much, we have a payment plan for you as well, where you can hop on with 6 payments of $119. Now that full pay also includes 3 small group calls where we can work together a little bit more. And if you were to hire a professional copywriter who'd written for Fortune 500 companies like I have and launches generated over $400,000 like I have, that would cost you about $1,000 per website page. But because you're learning how to do this yourself, and because I'm giving you the tools and the resources so this can happen for you fast, you can get started today for $597. Now, all you need to do, I wanted to tell you about this too. We have a mentorship level where I'm only taking 15 and we've got 13 spots left. And this is if you want to work with me on a little bit of a smaller scale level. And we're going to also give you access to my 2 associate copywriters who can help edit your words and make sure you're on the right track. And we're going to have 8 small coaching calls. So if you want to hop in, there's the website at the bottom, and this is what the page looks like that you're going to jump on. I believe Indigo has posted it. Thank you so much, Indigo. And all you need to do is click on the orange button in the top right, and you'll come down to this section and just pick the one that works best for you, what works best for your finances right now and your vision for your business. And then you're going to see this screen. It's our secure website, and you can hop on here and enter in your information, and then you are in. You're in, you have instant access to everything that I talked about, and you get an email with your login details ready to go. You can go at your own pace. You can hop in and pick a 60 or a 90-day plan, but just head to that link and you can get in. So as a quick recap of this total package, you get the entire training course with all 26 lessons, 43 videos, the office hours support, more than 25 templates, workbooks, and swipe files, the content marketing and PR writing bonus. And if you enroll while we're still here for about 15 minutes, we can start the clock now, you will also get the Write Your Site Challenge, lifetime access, and the sales funnel training and marketing plan. And did I mention you get lifetime access to the entire program? This is my baby, and so I add to it a lot. And anytime I feel like the first iteration has seen so many different add-ons, but anytime we add something, for example, this time I've added a whole lesson on product descriptions and how to write those. So anytime something is added to the program, you get access for that too, as long as the program is here, which it is not going anywhere. So again, you have those 2 choices. Choice 1 is to do nothing, to DIY learn it. You can do it. It took me a journalism degree and a lot of time in corporate marketing, or you can take that leap of faith. You can test drive it and you can see if this works for you. And I get it. What if you hop in and it totally sucks and you hate it? Well, I have a pretty tight refund policy, but I want to let you know that I do have your back. If you try it, if you go through the first 5 phases, show me your homework, we hop on a call and you tell me and I can see it is not a fit for your business, then I will happily buy it back from you. Now, the reason it's tight is because I want to attract, like we were talking about earlier, those 3s, those yeses, those people that are in it for the long game. But I wanted to let you know that I do have your back. So the real question is this: is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to check it out? Even if copywriting for creatives is half of what I claimed, it could pay for itself as soon as you book your next client or customer. So again, here's the total value of what you get, and you can get started with all of that today by going to copywritingforcreatives.ashlynwrites.com or clicking the beautiful button that Indigo dropped in. And there's the information on the payment plan, the one payment, or if you want one of those 13 spots left for the mentorship, we can do that too. Again, I don't do one-on-one coaching of any kind anymore, and this is how I do that with people. So we'll go ahead, like I said, and start that clock. I'm going to hop down to the last screen, and then now it is time for your Q&A, and I can't wait to get to that. Let's see if I can actually do the clock trick right this time. All right, I did, and I'm going to go ahead and get in there and see some of y'all's questions. Sarah, I have your name written down. Sarah, if you signed up yesterday, for some reason we missed your name. I think Indigo and I were pulling names for that fast action, but yes, I'm going to write your name down right now, and I'm going to send you that fast action bonus because it is ready to go and ready to be loaded in. Marissa asked, will the course be updated from time to time? Yes, there's not anything that's super, there's nothing about Facebook ad copy or anything that is ultra time sensitive. One of the things I like about copywriting is it is a decades, centuries old practice. A lot of the best copywriting secrets work really well because they're based on human psychology, which doesn't change too much over time. And so that's why I've wanted to create a curriculum that's super sustainable and that is not something that you're going to have to relearn constantly. I don't know about you. I don't have that kind of time in my business. I need to learn things that are going to be very sustainable and just have a long-term nature to them. So the program is more based in that. But yes, anytime or if there's a big request for something, for example, in the past, I've hopped in and done some email marketing, just free workshops for the group and talk to you about, because a lot of people after this are ready to start doing things like email marketing and they're not sure how to get started with that. And so we're going to make sure that after this, you're going to be a better copywriter in a lot of different capacities. But this focuses primarily on the fundamental basics of writing sales copy in your website and then positioning you to go into what's next for you and for your business. Katie asks a really good question. If you wanted to add to your program or upgrade to the program later to the mentorship, is that an option? Yes, Katie, you purchased. You are a student, right? I wrote your name down this morning. I write everybody's name on a sticky note and put it on my wall when you join, and I just think about you. I'm a little sentimental, and I remember writing your name. So yes, if you want to upgrade to the mentorship option, that's completely shoot us a note. And if you have a question today that you're not just not really comfortable asking in public, I get it. And I also like to sleep on things. So if you want to email us at support@ashlynwrites.com, I would love to answer that. We also have a chat box on that page. Clearly, Indigo and I are not on it now because we are listening to y'all. But if you wanted to pop over there and ask me, you can do that. I want to give a big welcome to Christy Cooper and Elizabeth Strong. I'm so excited that y'all have jumped in, and I can't wait to give you a big virtual hug in the group. We've already started having our party in the group, and I can't wait to see you there, and you can go ahead and dive in. So welcome, Christy and Elizabeth. I'm so excited, and thank y'all. Danielle asked if the course will work for social media marketers. That is a great question. So Danielle, I always say, and yes, we did have last round. This opens every 6 months for new intake. That's another thing. So we have some former students who have shifted business models a bit, or, a big job came up and they weren't able to work through on their 60-day program last time. And so they're going through it again. So that's something that's always an option. You can always kind of retake it or hit the reset button anytime I start going through it again. So that's an option for you. But yes, in the last round, a couple of women, I'm trying to think a digital marketer, I believe, and a content marketer. So I don't know if what you're doing, Danielle, is too different. I always say that who is this course not for? This is not for you if you don't have a like a working business concept. If you don't know what you're selling and who you're selling it to, I would not recommend this, because you do need to know like what you want to sell and who, like the basics. We'll drill down. Anybody that knows me know I'm a big believer in like, let's say who we work for and who we don't work for. There's something powerful in that. There's something good that happens in your brand and in your marketing when you do that. But that said, if you don't know those basics, I would say that this you may not find it to be that great of a fit, because I'm going to hit the ground running and treating you as if you already have some sort of customer or client in mind, put it that way. So I wanted to answer that. Daniela asked, will there be hot seats in the mentorship level, but not in the other ones? The middle, the premier option, that is pretty much, that's the crowd favorite. That's what most people do because you get those 3 extra calls. And in those are small group settings where we get to spend a little more time. You can ask for specific edits on a page on your website. There's no agenda. There's no extra curriculum to go through. All the curriculum is in the program. And so the call times, the Q&A slots, as well as those extra small group calls are really just our chance to catch up. Like, you can ask me anything you want. We can dig into any of the questions that you have. If there's something that needs to be covered specifically, I'll do it, but I don't want to over program you, or like I was saying earlier, give you more than you can consume. So that's why I don't do that. Martha, yay. Hello, Martha. I'm so excited to welcome you. Martha, you've got the cutest name, double M's. I like that. Erin, that is a great question. The scholarship is being announced Friday for Write Your Site. So that is a really great question. Let's see. Purdy asked, is the course similar to the 5-day challenge but with more help? The 5-day challenge skimmed the surface. That was very basic and very drinking out of a fire hydrant. And the course dives into a lot more, the psychology behind things, gives you a lot more freedom in the templates, gives you a lot more understanding of why things need to be structured a certain way. So those first 5 weeks or modules, I can go back to that slide if that's helpful, but those first 5, we just focus on your internal messaging. We focus on your audience, surveying them. We focus on we write your mission statement, your vision statement, your core values, your elevator pitch. We write all of that basic stuff in the first 5 modules. And then the next half, modules 6 through 10, that's when we look at your website and write it. And I also teach you things about how people read on the web. And I help get you equipped with ways, as somebody who is a marketer, I believe in testing. If we don't test things and we don't see what people like and don't like, then how can we choose to do things a certain way? So I'm going to teach you how to test on your website, and I'm going to give you some tools for that. And then the bonuses are set and ready to go to get you into what's next for you, to equip you to be a better writer after that. There's also a resources section where I have about 39 of the tools that I use in my business that are my go-tos. I don't really give that list explicitly really anywhere else. And so that's where you'll find that as well. So I'm going to see if there's any other questions over here. Dion, yes, email us too. You did. Let's see. We have a question too from Sarah is asking about, okay, let's talk about that. She's saying, I would love to invest. I don't think I can do the full right now. So there's a couple of options. The first thing is that I'm so excited that I believe in being a good steward of your money. So I really want to help you decide if this is worth it or not. Whenever I'm making a decision financially to invest in a course for my business, I always try to look at how can I get it back, and I draw myself a way to get out. So as soon as I purchase something, then I set up a plan to make that. So if it was $600, how am I going to make that back? I need to book 3 clients at $200 project fees or whatever it is. Do I need to raise my fees in a couple of areas so I can get this faster? Whatever it is, I'm going to set myself up on a plan. And then when it comes to taking the program, I'm going to take it really seriously. So a few ways that I do that are scheduling out on Fridays a time to just do education for a few hours. I also have been known to get like a new notebook or markers or whatever from the store just to get me excited about spending time on that. I know that there are so many online courses, and my heart of hearts is that this will not be one that sits on your desk. We need to get you out of this. Like, we need to get you through those 10 modules. And then you always have access, and you always have me for coaching and support in the group. But as far as getting you through the program, we need to get you through those. We don't need this to just be something that sits. So that's kind of how I handle the financial thing. When I'm making this decision, I'll say too that PayPal has a program that's bill me now or bill me later. And there is an option. You can do PayPal or any major credit card as payment for this. And so that could be something too that you consider. I don't advocate going into debt. Like I said, when I showed you my business, this first $4,000 that I spent, I knew when it was going to come in. We just didn't have it yet, but it was on the books. So I just want to be careful about that and advocating you to do something that you don't feel comfortable with. Let's see. Jessica asked, what if I don't have time to start till 2018? That's also a really great question. So I would say that's okay. You've got lifetime access, like I said, so you can jump in right away. You can binge on this. I've had some people take this who are starting their rebrand. They have the designer booked. They have a graphic designer ready to go, and they just need somebody to come along and help them out when it comes to the words, right? And so you need to get through this fast. I've had plenty of people come in and binge on the content and get it out in the world, and then go back and catch up on the things that they didn't watch the first time around. Then we've had plenty of people purchase this and not get to it for 6 months. That's okay too. I'm not telling you that you have to do this in 8 weeks, in the 60 days or the 90 days. Those are just there as support, because I don't want you floundering. I don't want you to get this and then feel like it's too much and you can't get through it. Like I said, I want to coach you through it. I want to be your accountability buddy virtually and help you get through this. So that's what I would tell you for there. Welcome, Purdy. Oh, Purdy, I remembered your name all through the Write Your Site Challenge because I liked it so much. I'm so excited to have you. This will be great. Cynthia, let me get to your question. This is a good one. Cynthia says, I've hopped on so many golden nuggets. Good. I'm excited for you. You're finding your voice and your message and putting it on paper, but you never finish. When does this start? So the 8 weeks of calls start on the 26th of October, and they go through the 21st of December, and that's the same for the mentorship level too. But like I said, after that, we're still in the group offering accountability. I just don't dedicate that, 1 hour entire call every single week yet. To be frank, my long-term, I would love to do that every single week. But the group also, if you've been in the challenge and you noticed the support, we foster that as well in the community, because the thing is, there's a lot of people in the group. We find accountability buddies, and there's a lot of people in there who will fit on your pain points. Maybe they would be a perfect target for what it is that you offer, and they're able to give you some feedback and some editing. So that is a way that you can get some feedback on things as well. And yeah, if you're not good at getting through it, there's checkpoints. You get an email once a week to kind of give you a little nudge, remind you that you have this if you've been checked out a little bit. So we're going to make sure that you get through the program. Lindsay asked, is there a sponsorship program? You're a VA specializing in copywriting and are starting up with no real income. Totally understand. It was when we got married and had a second income, that was when I finally had the confidence. So I know what it means to feel like you don't have anything to start it. We are giving one scholarship to somebody who did the Write Your Site Challenge and completed the workbook. But in coming months and years, I would love to be able to offer some more. But thanks for asking that. Yes, so we'll announce that for those of you who did the challenge and completed your workbook and turned it in on Friday. Stacy asked, when's the next time this will be offered? It's usually every 6 months. I haven't mapped out all the 2018 plans yet, but I would guess in about 6 months or so, but I'm not certain. Yeah, I don't know. Jessica asked, when does it close? The cart closes on this. Countdown, 54 seconds to get that fast action bonus. The cart closes on next Tuesday at midnight. So you've got about 1 week left to decide. And like I said, I am a person who sleeps on every decision. So if this is something you need to sleep on, you need to read that copywriting for creatives.ashlynwrites.com page and explore it and think about it and talk to your significant other about, I totally get it. That would have been me. I wouldn't have been the fast action person. So if that is you, it is okay. Tara McQuain, I would like to say welcome to you. I'm excited. Welcome, Tara. This is great. All right, let's see. Lauren, we have already collected all the workbooks. They were due yesterday. But thank you for asking. Kelly, as far as the office hour calls, that's a great question. I'm posting in the group to get a feel for, let's stop that clock. That's annoying. I don't know if y'all could hear the beep, but I did. I need to post in the group because we're going to hop on a few different times, for the last group, because sometimes there's a lot of people that are from the West Coast or a lot of people from the East Coast or out of the country, but we alternate them up. They're usually on Thursdays, but they vary on times. So we'll do some mornings, we'll do some afternoons, we'll do some evenings. The calls are always recorded and in the group as well as in your members section of the course. So if you miss one, if you can't make it, the day before there's a prompt where you can post your question, and then I make sure that I answer that on the call as well as anything else that you may have. Like anybody else who shows up live and has questions after we answer those, we'll also get through. Welcome, welcome, Wendy. I'm excited to have you. I want to say too, I know that the clock has stopped. There may be a few people who are hitting checkout now. You will be taken care of also with the bonus. And Dion and Katie and Sarah are the 3 that I need to check on that are already in, and we need to check with you on your fast action bonuses, and then Katie on the mentorship. Let's make sure we talk about that. So we're about at 1:20, and I want to let you have your afternoon back. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off right now, but I am just so grateful for the time that y'all spent on this. Please go ahead, hop over to that page and email us if you've got any questions. Like I told you, I understand not wanting to ask your question in a public setting, and that is totally okay. Erin asked, what is the fast action bonus? It is that lifetime access to the Write Your Site program, and it's also the mini marketing plan. So if you've ever wanted to write a marketing plan for your business and didn't know where to start, it's a template for that, as well as a sales funnel checklist and a call with Christina Scalera where I pick her brain. She's a sales ally for creative entrepreneurs. She was an attorney, and now she's just brilliant at getting people from lurker to on the phone and booked. And so she is going to give us some great information on that. It's a great call. She also has a freebie that she gives us on that call. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go and have your afternoon back. I thank you so much for spending time with me, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.